Well, I had this out for a cruise. The other day when I was running it, I blew a heater hose, so I bypassed the heater hose. But that had blown water onto the distributor. Well, I blew water all over under here. Well, then she was firing badly, not running on all and missing. And so I let it dry out, and like I say, I just bypassed that heater hose. I'll have to replace the heater hose, but this takes a rather long length of heater hose because, at this time, heaters were an option. They didn't come with a heater. You actually put it in later or ordered it special. Made me think I happen to have, if you remember, cars used to come with these little rheostat heater controls that would mount under the dash. I happen to have one. This was brand new in the box yet, which was kind of cool. But like I say, they're an option. And this car, when they got it, they put quite a few options on it. And one of the options that was on, it's got a separate, the heater that mounts on the firewall is actually just the defroster. It's a whole separate unit. But in that line, there's the main heater is under the seat. It's a kind of a nice design because what it does, it blows heat. It actually heats the seat, blows heat on the rear floor and on the front floor. So it's kind of ahead of its time in that design. But that makes I got to run the hose all the way under the seat and then back. It's in a chain kind of. So rather than monkey around, I'm going to replace all of that hose because particularly that when it goes under the seat, I want to make sure that doesn't blow. It's a nuisance though. Like I say, you can bypass them, but that one's particularly vulnerable to like gravel and stuff. It's because it's right out in the open underneath. Well, like I say, anyway, I let it dry out, and when I started it this morning, it had a miss in it. And I monkeyed around it. A lot of times you can pull a plug wire. If you pull it just slightly back so the spark has to jump a little more of a gap, it'll fire. And I monkeyed around and I figured out that I was running on like 4 cylinders. So I pulled the spark plugs out and I ordered new ones. It's one of them things you have to do on eBay. The number on these, like I said, these are weird spark plugs because this motor during the war years, this design had been used in some marine application, is my understanding. And for that use, they use these really tiny 10 millimeter spark plugs. This is what a normal spark plug looks like. This is what these run. Really little things. So they follow fairly easy. But they are still available. They're like $3 a piece. But it's an Autolite 3136. They're a non-resistor copper core spark plug. But I'll clean these up and they'll work until the new ones get here. But at the same time, I'll pull that distributor cap off and make sure I don't have water in the cap. That could be causing a problem. But when I say about, pulling the plug wire just slightly back so that it has to arc a little further, this car, when it came to me, it had this in the coil line. This little block that's 2 screws, that go right in the line, in the wire. Well, what that is it actually has a small air gap inside of it so that the spark from the coil is hotter. It's got to make that little extra jump. And I've never seen that in any other vehicle, but I know about that making a gap and it'll catch, even on a bad spark plug. It has to be really bad before they won't fire like that. But that is what I was talking about when I was saying about that tiny little spark plug. But you can imagine, something that small. It looks like something that belongs in like little model airplane engines. But they do fall out fairly easy. And they're a little bit hard to clean because it's hard to get in there. You know, they're just really tiny. And I don't know what the theory on, you know, like I say, for marine application, why that would be the thing. I've never seen them on any other motor, you know, because the earlier Chevys didn't use them, and the later Chevys didn't use them. But it's the ones that were built with the heads left over from the war production when they were being used in a marine application. You know, they just never bothered to make a bigger plug hole in them. They just kept using these plugs. But they are still available. So like I say, Autolite, 3136. If anybody's, but like I say, because if you go in and try to buy them, you can't get them. But eBay, you can find them. But they're just a little unusual.